Welcome to Animal Cafe, where you'll hear weekly interviews with experts and enthusiasts working to better the lives of animals, and reviews of fun, fabulous, and useful products for your pets. Check our website, animalcafe.co, for more. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Animal Cafe. This is Mary Haight, your animal welfare correspondent, and we're here today with Molly Mednikow, founder and executive director of Amazon Community Animal Rescue, Education, and Safety, better known as Amazon Cares, a 501c3 not-for-profit, which is the only organization dedicated to protecting domestic animals in the Amazon since 2005. Hi, Molly. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know you've got so many projects going on. I'm really pleased that we've had a chance now to present what's going on with Amazon Cares.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you owned a successful jewelry business in Atlanta, and
That's
were
correct.
in community and charities there.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to change your life and move to Peru to help animals?
Well, it certainly was a complete turnaround. I had been involved with a different charity that traveled to the Amazon and became enamored with the total lifestyle difference, the feeling of being cut off from the modern world, the nature, all of that spoke to me. So I continued to travel there, and every time that I traveled there, I was very disturbed by the large numbers of stray animals on the street. You literally would walk down the street and have to step over them. They would be so sick, they wouldn't even get out of the way. Sometimes they wouldn't even accept food that you offered them. The look in their eyes was dead, and it was pitiful. And there was also quite a bit of animal abuse because these animals were unhealthy looking and people were scared for their families. They didn't want these animals around. And I began to rescue sort of one dog at a time, and then I just decided I wanted to stay.
Oh, so you went into a completely different culture with the intention of changing the way they treated their stray animals.
Yes.
What did they think about you? Did they say welcome, or did they laugh at you? And how did you begin to build relationships and support for your work?
When I first went to Iquitos, I actually moved there and lived there for 4 years straight. And many people may not realize that. It's only in 2009 that I came back to the United States to live part-time. And I still spend much time in Peru. It is sort of the home of my heart. But people did think I was crazy. I had good friends from other charities who later admitted to me that they didn't think I would last 6 months. And I'm proud to say that they were wrong. In terms of the Peruvian people, they could not understand what I was doing. They called me La Loca Gringa. And some resented that I was there to help animals and not people. And others just thought I was wasting my time and wasting my money on animals that they considered to be on a level of like vermin. Mm-hmm. And it was quite a challenge at first. And even my employees were made fun of at times. When they would go out on the streets to rescue a dog that would seen, people would make fun of them and laugh at them. So it was a challenge at first, but we started from ground zero, and it was my goal to demonstrate that we could start from ground zero and hopefully be a model for other charities in places like Iquitos, Peru, and the Amazon region, where there is no other organization that takes care of domestic animals.
So you bought land.
Mm-hmm.
And
I did.
And did you have any trouble doing that ownership in Peru? Is that an easy thing or not?
I got a special stamp in my passport to allow me to sign contracts.
Oh,
so
great.
I was able to buy 2 acres of pristine rainforest property. At the time, though, I did not realize that it was in a flooding zone. So we do have some problems with flooding from time to time, and we have recently. But we kept 1 acre completely pristine, and I had a dream of making nature walks around there one day. And then we developed another acre. We installed a generator so that we would have power, not 24 hours a day, but at some times. And we installed our own plumbing system and water filtration system and built out over a number of years. We expanded and built out beautiful kennels, open air kennels with lots of space for dogs to run. And we rarely even closed the kennel doors. We only did that at feeding time.
Wow. And so, okay, you've got a no-kill shelter and you've hired employees, local employees. You've got mobile clinics, too, that travel through the jungle to serve the small villages?
Yes, we do mobile clinics constantly. We do them with our Amazon Cares team around Iquitos and the many neighborhoods of Iquitos that are very, very poor. And then we do have an exciting international veterinary volunteer program, which gives us manpower to go out further into the jungle villages where there's no concept of veterinary care at all.
You designed a strong, humane education program that goes beyond how to care and have compassion for animals. Can you walk us through this program?
Yes, we initially started with educating young children, literally even preschool children with coloring sheets. We started out with dog safety, how to prevent dog bites, and then we moved on to responsible pet ownership, how pets feel. In the jungle, we have an additional component of really teaching children about the importance of respecting wildlife in their natural habitat. It's interesting because in the city and in the jungle, we'll hold up pictures of animals and say, is this a pet or is this wildlife? And the answers you get in the jungle are quite different as to what they consider pets. But now our education program has extended to adults and even other veterinarians and local biologists, and we have trained teachers, and we have guest people come in, and even our international volunteers, such as Dr. Patrick Mahaney, came in and gave a lecture about holistic medicine for animals, and we had a translator there. So we've done lots of neat things, and 7 times a week we are in schools teaching humane ed classes.
That's great. And didn't you get a grant when you first started?
We did. The Humane Society International gave us a grant for our initial materials, and that is why all of our materials were initially aimed at young children, because those were the materials that were available at that time in Spanish. Since then, we've had to develop our own materials.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yes.
And I mean, you're the person that's on site, and you know what the community needs.
Yes.
So
yes.
You've got a thriving international veterinary jungle volunteer program. And how long do these run? What's it all about? What do they do?
If you are a veterinary professional, you have to put this on your bucket list. That's the end. It is the most exciting adventure and experience you will ever have. It is an experience to see the most pristine remaining part of the rainforest that remains. The Peruvian Amazon rainforest has not been developed as in Brazil. It is a very clean, pristine area of the world. You will see wildlife. You can go ziplining through the jungle. You can walk on a canopy walkway high above the trees. You can go piranha fishing. We really offer adventure and ecotourism with our trips. However, the veterinary professionals also work pretty hard during the day. The work days start early and they end early because we don't have electricity most of the time, and we have to work with natural light.
Wow.
Veterinarians will find the conditions to be challenging, but it's also so rewarding for these veterinarians to see that they have the skills to do the surgeries, to help different animals, to help a sicker population, to see new infections, to do things they haven't done before. And they're able to do it, even in less than ideal conditions, where they don't necessarily have a huge pharmacy of medicines or surgical tools to choose from.
It's got to be quite an experience.
It is. If anyone looks at our YouTube channel or reads our blogs from volunteers, It's so uniformly positive. It's a great thing.
So you've developed programs that reinforce local animal welfare,
Hmm.
provide veterinarians from the EU, Australia, Canada, and a few from the U.S.
Hmm.
with a chance to practice philanthropy and help change their move along.
Yes.
And at the same time, you've planted the idea of compassionate coexistence with community animals. And really, you've changed the way they think there, because those animals were not community animals when you got there.
They were not. They were treated very horribly. They had
Yeah.
to scavenge for food. Restaurant owners routinely kept boiling water at the ready to throw on
Wow.
animals. One animal was actually set on fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very hard for me to accept. It still is,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to understand their culture, and that in their minds, they are protecting themselves from these sick animals.
Well, and since you got there and got the animals more healthy, you've seen a change in the way they treat them.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
There's still going to be unhealthy animals around.
Sure.
It's a constant battle, but we have seen a huge change in the population of animals. There's been a decrease in overpopulation. There's much less animal abandonment. The animals that we spay and neuter in our street clinics that are free, or they're free for owned animals, and we also capture street animals and release them. The surgery itself boosts an animal's immune system. And then we also treat the animals for parasites and other ailments.
Mm-hmm.
And the animals start to look better. And when they look better, people are willing to let them lie. Instead of kicking them away or
Yeah.
throwing stones at them, they coexist.
So you've been helping about as many people as you do animals as you've gone through your programs there.
Yes, the reason for that is because most of the people we deal with, the vast majority, are living far below the poverty level. They do not have healthy water to drink. They do not have healthy facilities to use the bathroom in. You'll often see a house with an outhouse on a raft. Next to it, someone's fishing. On the other side of it, someone's doing laundry. Kids are swimming. It's an environment, especially with the tropical heat and the humidity, that really encourages the transmission of diseases between humans and animals. So we have done a lot of teaching about this, and we have distributed anti-parasite medicine to over 250,000 people.
It's
So
amazing.
we're trying to put a stop to this intertransmission
Mm-hmm.
of parasites.
Well, that must make you welcome.
Yes, yes.
So all of this you've done since 2005,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly the worst weather in 25 years does what?
Oh, wow. Well, I mentioned we had some flooding issues, and just recently, starting in March, the water started to rise, and heartbroken, I watched the water getting higher and higher, and we kept hoping it would recede, and it didn't, and it completely destroyed our no-kill shelter that had taken us years to build. And the water got to be 6 feet high, and we had to move all the animals into a building with stilts, and it was not a good situation.
Oh, what a panic.
Yes, the animals were very stressed out, and we had no quarantine area, and the large dogs and big dogs were together, and they couldn't be separated when we fed them, for instance. So it was a real problem. And now the water has receded. The shelter is caked in mud, absolutely caked in mud, and we have to decide if we want to rebuild, if we want to try to reconstruct it on stilts. And the other option is to build a smaller shelter on higher land. That is what we did in the emergency situation. We did get funding very quickly, thanks to generous donors, and we built a much smaller shelter on higher land. But it's a third the size of what we had, and so we could add on to that. It's such a shame to see so much wonderful land go to waste when usually flooding well, like I said, this was the worst in 25 years. So,
So stilts might indeed be the best solution for that area.
yes,
Yeah.
it's difficult, and it was very tough because for the first time, I thought Amazon Cares might not survive. It was a very difficult time. Still is.
Boy. Well, I'm so glad to hear that you've already had some help rebuilding and that the veterinary session is indeed on for August. So how can people help at this point? Where do they contact you for more information on donations, like for with money, supplies, equipment,
Sure.
and for the vet volunteers also?
Okay, well, all of our information is at www.amazoncares.org. Bear in mind, we are a charity. I built the website myself, and I'm not a professional. But the information is there on how to donate. The information is there about all of our veterinary trips. And there's also a link to our blog, which contains our most current information. And of course, we are on all the social networks that you would expect. But we do need donations badly. And there are many people who want to donate supplies, but there is an issue of getting them to Peru. There's very high shipping cost. Iquitos is surrounded by water. No roads lead there. So everything has to be flown in. So we appreciate supply donations, and I want to give a shout out to Embrace Pet Insurance. They do donate a lot of important supplies to us that I load up my suitcases whenever I go to Peru. But really, it's the financial need that we have because we aren't in the U.S. People can't just drop into our shelter to help out for a few days. We do welcome volunteers. We do have a shelter volunteer program. If you want to come to Peru for a couple of weeks and stay at our beautiful volunteer lodging and help walk our dogs and socialize them, that is great. And of course, our veterinary trip programs, we need veterinary professionals.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day and talking to us about what's going on with Amazon Cares, and we'll look forward to future reports.
Well, I'm looking forward to your coming to the Amazon and providing some of those reports.
Yes, well, I didn't know if I was going to say anything about that, but yes, indeed, I'll be there in August.
Something in the works. Yes.
Very excited to see it, too.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time, Mary. I know that you have a lot on your plate as well, and I really do admire your work.
Oh, thank you so much, Molly. I appreciate that.
Okay.
You take care.
You too.
That's all for today from Animal Cafe. Thanks for listening.